mostly work with tempera paints, but I also use acrylic paints if I'm really trying to get a special effect, or if we're working with certain materials. Okay? So when you're painting with glass or plastic and you're doing a craft project, you definitely want to use acrylic paint. Using tempera paint will not work. Actually, if you use tempera paint, once it dries, it's going to crackle, it's going to start flaking off your design, and it's just not going to look cute. So if you're going to paint on glass or plastic, you definitely want to use acrylic paint. With acrylic paints, they are versatile, and you can use them just like oil paints, or you can use them kind of like a watercolor. So you can kind of use them for different textures depending on what you're looking for. So as far as oil paints, you can just use them straight out the bottle, and you can design your picture or your painting. Very similar to this one, where it looks like the artist kind of dabbed the paint on to create some form of a texture. It kind of reminds you of a Monet painting, right? So this is more of just using the acrylic paint straight out the bottle without having to add water to it, all right? But if you do decide to add water and kind of thin down the paint a little bit, it will be more like a watercolor, and you'll have more of that fluidity going on throughout your painting. So just like this picture here, you can tell the sky is just really soft and it's flowing nicely between all the different colors of the reds and the orange and burgundies. And so this is where the artist actually added little hints of a little bit of water in there so that it dilutes and it looks more like a watercolor. So that's what I mean by it's versatile. You can use it like an oil paint where it's just straight out the bottle. You can create that kind of texture and design, or you can thin it down with some water and add some more fluidity with the paint and create more of a watercolor design. So you have options here, okay? So some awesome features about acrylic paints is that it's fast drying. Oil paints, it takes like weeks, sometimes even a month for it to dry. But if you are all about that instant gratification, you want to use the acrylic paints, okay? So they're fast drying. They dry within like a couple of minutes or seconds. After you create your painting, it'll be dry in no time. Also, the colors blend very well. So you can mix up your colors very nicely. And also, acrylic paints are forgiving. So it allows for mistakes. So I really don't feel there are any mistakes when it comes to doing art. You know, you can always transfer something and act like you did it on purpose, right? But if you feel like there's a mistake that you created, or that, you know, the residents or your clients feel like, you know, they made a little splotch or something on their artwork, right? So they got this splotch on their painting, they're not happy about it, and they feel like, wow, I just totally messed up this whole picture. Not true. All right. So if you come across something where you made a splotch, you're not happy with it, what you want to do is you want to get some white acrylic paint over the splotch. Okay. So first, let the splotch dry. Let that completely dry, which will only take a couple seconds to a minute. After that, then get your white acrylic paint and then paint over top of that splotch, okay? And once that's done, you basically have used it kind of like a whiteout, right? That's what I love about acrylic paints. Especially with the white paint, I always use them as kind of like a whiteout if I need to. So by you adding the white paint over top of the splotch, you basically have cleared out that space, and now you can paint over it the way you want it to, or you can just kind of know that it's gone. No one will ever know that you made a mistake, okay? So use white acrylic paint like whiteout if you need to. The other thing I do want to make mention is that you want to make sure that your space is safe, okay? So you want to have a safe zone for all of your art sessions or your art and craft sessions that you're doing with clients or residents, okay? And one of the tips that I do want to share with you is that you want to make sure you do not leave any unused paint or paint bottles on your table, okay? Where it's in reach for your clients to pick up. They may pour it out more all over the table. Who knows? Especially if you work with clients who have Alzheimer's or dementia, you want to make sure that you do not leave the paint on the table, all right? They're very quick. They pick up things very quickly. So what you want to do is you want to put drops of paint in their palettes, not in cups, because cups they'll pick up and think it's something to drink. So put it in their palette, and then take the bottles of paint and move it away from them. So maybe it'll be at another table, maybe it'll be somewhere in the corner away from the table, wherever you want to put it, but make sure it's not in reach of the client so that they can easily pick it up and mistake it for something else, okay? And the other tip I do want to give you about putting paint in your palettes, all right? So when you put paint in your palettes, you know, we were used to filling up all the wells, or we feel we need to fill up all the wells to the very top with a whole bunch of paint, but we really don't. You only need a little dab of paint. You know how they say a little dab will do ya, right? That's all you really need when you're painting. And if you run out of paint, you just add more paint into the well, but only use as you go. Don't fill up the whole well with paint, and you may not use all of it, okay? So when you're putting paint in the palettes, you only need to put a little drop of paint that's no bigger than the size of a dime, okay? So you wanna make sure that you're using your acrylic paints conservatively. You can also do this with your tempera paints as well. Only no bigger than the size of a dime. And I know you're probably thinking, really? The size of a dime? That's nothing. If you're doing a painting that's like an 8.5 by 11 size, you only need a size of a dime paint for each color. If you're doing a picture, a painting, and it's really big, then you might add a little bit more. But again, you want to make sure that you do a little bit at a time and always add to your well. When you do this, you will use what's needed and you will not have any paint that's left over, and you'll have less chance of getting paint on your clothes. Or actually your clients have a less chance, or their residents have a less chance of getting paint on their clothes, okay? If you give them just enough to paint their picture, because they can easily get it on their clothes. And then one tip I do want to let you know is that acrylic paints do not come out of your clothing, but acrylics are great to use on wood, paper, glass, plastic, leather. You have lots of options working with acrylics. So try it. Acrylic paints, you never know what the possibilities will be. Until I see you again, amazing one, continue to create, connect, and inspire others.